He was 72 years old. He had been driving for 55 years. He had never had a single accident. He had never received a single ticket. He had a perfect driving record, a valid license in his wallet, and absolutely no reason to believe he was doing anything wrong. And then one morning, he went online to renew his license, just as he had done for the past 20 years. He filled out the form, he clicked submit, and the screen said, "Not eligible for online renewal. Please visit your local DMV office in person." He was confused. He drove to the DMV. He waited in line for 2 hours, and when he finally reached the counter, the clerk told him something that stopped him cold. His license had expired 3 weeks ago. He had been driving illegally for 21 days. His insurance was void, and if he had been in an accident, he would have been personally liable for every single dollar of damage. Not because he had done anything wrong, not because he had broken a single traffic law, but because no one had told him the rules had changed. And he was not alone. That is the reality for 67 million American senior drivers right now. And if you are over 70 or you have a parent, a grandparent, or a neighbor who is, you need to understand what is happening because a federal warning has just been issued, and it affects every single driver over the age of 70 in the United States. The rules have changed. The deadlines are approaching, and if you do not check your license before August, you could be driving illegally without even knowing it. This is not a rumor. This is not a suggestion. This is the law. And if you do not follow it exactly, you're not just risking a fine, you are risking your license, your insurance, and your independence. Before we get into it, one thing. This channel covers federal warnings, new laws, and critical rule changes the moment they happen, not weeks later when you read about them in a comment section or hear about them from a neighbor who heard it from someone else. That is why you need to subscribe right now and hit the notification bell. It takes 2 seconds. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it ensures you do not miss the next warning that could affect your rights, your freedom, or your safety. Do it now, then come right back. Now, let us talk about the federal warning that every driver over 70 must check before August, and why your license could be at risk without a single traffic violation. The problem this federal warning was built to address is not a simple one. On one side, you have the freedom and independence of over 67 million Americans aged 65 and older who hold valid driver's licenses. That is nearly 1 in every 5 drivers on the road. On the other side, you have the natural effects of aging that can affect driving ability, slower reaction times, diminished night vision, declining peripheral vision, and cognitive changes that can impact decision-making behind the wheel. The two sides are colliding, and the federal government has stepped in with a warning that has sent shockwaves through every state DMV in the country. But here is the part that should alarm you. The federal warning does not simply ask you to check a box and move on. It requires specific actions. It imposes stricter renewal timelines, and it creates a system where your license can be suspended, restricted, or revoked without you ever committing a single traffic violation. That is right. You can lose your license not because of anything you did behind the wheel, but because you did not know the rules had changed. This does not start in Washington. It does not start in some distant federal office. It starts exactly where yours would. Picture this. You're a 73-year-old retired nurse. You have been driving since you were 16. You have a perfect record. You drive to the grocery store. You drive to church. You drive to your grandkids' soccer games. Your license expires in 4 months. You have always renewed it online without any issue. So you go to the website, you fill out the form, and you click submit. But this time, the screen does not say approved. It says in-person renewal required. You are confused. You call the DMV. They tell you that because you're now over 70, you must come in for a vision test, and in some states, a reaction time screening. You make the appointment, you show up, you pass the vision test, you think everything is fine, but here's the part of this story that should genuinely disturb you. The clerk tells you that because of the new federal guidelines, your license will now expire every 3 years instead of every 8. You did not know that. You did not plan for that. And if you miss that 3-year window, you are driving on an expired license. Your insurance is void, and you are facing fines that can reach into the thousands of dollars. Here's the part of this story that should genuinely disturb you even more. The federal warning applies to every driver over 70 in every state, but each state implements the rules differently. That means what is true in California may not be true in Texas. What is true in Florida may not be true in Illinois. And if you do not know your state's specific requirements, you are driving blind, literally and figuratively. According to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, about 19 states require extra vision tests for older drivers. About 17 states plus the District of Columbia restrict online renewal past a certain age. 5 states require physicians to report certain medical conditions to the DMV, and these numbers are growing. Every single month, more states are tightening their requirements for senior drivers, not because they want to punish you, but because the data is clear. In 2023, 7,891 people aged 65 and older died in traffic crashes in the United States. That was about 19% of all road deaths. And with almost 52 million licensed drivers aged 65 and older in 2022, a jump of about 77% since 2004, the problem is only getting bigger. The resolution, the actual federal warning that has been issued, is now in full effect. The U.S. Department of Transportation has rolled out new guidelines for drivers aged 70 and above. Every word matters here. Let me break that down into plain language. The federal warning does not create a single nationwide law. Driver's license regulations in the United States are set at the state level, not federally. There's no single nationwide law automatically restricting or canceling licenses for drivers over 70. But what the federal government has done is issue a clear warning to every state. Strengthen your renewal requirements for older drivers or face federal scrutiny. And the states have responded. As of January 2026, drivers over 70 face a series of common changes in most states. Mandatory in-person renewal from a certain age. Vision tests at each renewal with minimum visual acuity standards. Shorter-term licenses which may be valid for 1 to 3 years. Possible practical or functional tests in specific cases. This is the new baseline. This is the new reality. In August is the deadline for many of these changes to take full effect. But do not celebrate yet. Here is where most people watching this make the mistake that turns a well-intentioned federal warning into a dangerous false sense of security. They assume that because they are good drivers, because they have a clean record, because they have never had an accident, they have nothing to worry about. And they are right. Most of them will never have a problem. But that assumption is exactly what blinds them to the trapdoors. Those 2 words, state-specific, are doing the heaviest lifting in this entire federal warning. The federal government sets the baseline, but each state implements it differently. There are 3 specific trapdoors built into the system. Know them cold before you ever need them. Trapdoor number 1, the online renewal restriction. More than 17 states, plus the District of Columbia, now restrict online renewal past a certain age. In Arizona, drivers 65 and older may have in-person requirements that override online options. In California, online renewal is restricted for drivers 70 and older. In Florida, drivers 80 and older face additional requirements. In Illinois, drivers 79 and older must renew in person every 4 years. Those aged 81 to 86 every 2 years, and those 87 and older must renew in person annually and complete a road test. In Texas, drivers 79 and older face more frequent checks. In North Carolina, drivers 67 and older must renew their licenses every 5 years instead of every 8. If you are used to renewing online from your kitchen table, that option may no longer be available to you. You must go to the DMV in person. You must wait in line. You must bring the correct documents, and you must pass the required tests on the spot. If you fail the vision test, you do not get a second chance next week. You fail and your renewal is denied. That is it. Know your state's renewal rules before your birthday arrives. This is not optional. Trapdoor number 2, the shortened renewal cycle. Once you turn 70, your license does not renew on the standard cycle anymore. It renews every 3 years in many states. That is a drastic reduction from the standard 8-year or 10-year cycle, and the DMV will send you a reminder. But that reminder comes 90 days before your birthday or before your license expires. 90 days. That sounds like plenty of time. But here's the catch. If you are traveling, if you're in the hospital, if you move, or if you simply misplace the form, you can miss that window. And if you miss that window, you're driving on an expired license. You're driving without insurance. You're committing a serious offense, and you're facing fines that can reach up to $1,000 or more in some states. Do not let that be you. Mark your calendar, set a reminder on your phone, tell a family member. Do not rely on a single piece of mail. Trapdoor number 3, and this is the one that catches the most people, the medical reporting requirements. In 5 states, physicians are required to report certain medical conditions to the DMV. California requires reporting for dementia. Nevada requires reporting for certain conditions. New Jersey gives doctors a 24-hour window to report. Oregon has the broadest scope of mandatory reporting, and Pennsylvania gives doctors a 10-day window to report. That is right. Your own doctor, the person you trust with your health, is legally required to report you to the DMV if they diagnose you with certain conditions. And you may not even know it has happened until you receive a notice in the mail that your license is under review. You do not get a say. You do not get a second opinion. You do not get to appeal the doctor's decision before the report is filed. The report goes to the DMV and the process begins. Know your state's reporting laws before you ever need them. This is not optional. But even knowing all of this, there is one single most dangerous moment that erases all of this protection. It is the moment you voluntarily give it away. You're sitting in your doctor's office. Your doctor asks you a question. It sounds routine. It sounds harmless. They say, "Have you been feeling any memory lapses?" Or, "Have you been feeling dizzy or lightheaded?" Or, "Have you had any episodes of confusion?" These questions sound like standard medical screening. They sound like your doctor is just doing their job, but they are not. They are diagnostic questions. And if you answer yes, if you admit to any symptom, your doctor is legally required to report you in 5 states. That is right. Your own words spoken in the privacy of your doctor's office can trigger a mandatory report to the DMV. And once that report is filed, you cannot take it back. Do not say yes. Do not admit to symptoms that could trigger a report. Do not give your doctor the information they need to report you. So what do you say? What are the exact words that protect you? The answer is not to lie to your doctor. Lying to your doctor is dangerous. It can lead to misdiagnosis, improper treatment, and serious health consequences. The answer is to know the law, to understand what conditions trigger mandatory reporting in your state, to ask your doctor directly, "Are you required to report this condition to the DMV?" And if the answer is yes, to understand what that means for your license. You have the right to know, you have the right to ask, and you have the right to seek a second opinion before any report is filed. But you must ask, you must be proactive. You must not assume that your doctor will tell you. Many doctors do not. They are focused on your health, not on the DMV. They may not even think about the reporting requirement when they make a diagnosis. But once they make that diagnosis, the law requires them to report, and you are left to deal with the consequences. Now, let me give you the actionable protocol, the complete step-by-step you need to execute to protect yourself, your license, and your independence before August. Step 1, check your license expiration date right now. Do not wait. Do not assume you have time. Do not assume you remember correctly. Go to your wallet, pull out your license, look at the expiration date. If it expires within the next 6 months, you're already behind. The new rules mean you cannot wait until the last minute. You need to start the renewal process at least 120 days before your expiration date. Give yourself a full month of buffer. If you are turning 70, start the renewal process 4 months before your birthday. If you're 72 and your license expires in 6 months, start now. Do not wait. The form will arrive, but if it does not, you can download it from your state DMV website. You can also request it by phone. Do not rely on the mail. The mail is not reliable. You are reliable. Step 2, know your state's specific requirements for drivers over 70. Do not assume they are the same as your neighbor's state. Do not assume they are the same as they were 5 years ago. Go to your state DMV website and look up the senior driver renewal rules. Look for the age at which online renewal is blocked. Look for the age at which vision tests become mandatory. Look for the age at which InterSyn renewal is required. Look for the age at which the renewal cycle shortens. Write these dates down. Put them on your calendar. Share them with your family. This is not optional. This is preparation. Step 3, gather your documents before you go. You will need your current license, proof of identity, proof of residency, and any medical forms your state requires. Some states require a physician's statement of fitness. Some require a vision test from an eye doctor. Get these documents together in a folder. Keep them in your car or your desk. Do not wait until the day of your appointment to realize you are missing something. Step 4, schedule your DMV appointment early. In-person renewals are now required in many states for drivers over 70. Appointments fill up weeks, sometimes months in advance. Do not wait until your license is about to expire. Schedule the appointment as soon as you receive your renewal notice. If you cannot get an appointment before your expiration date, contact the DMV and ask for an extension. Many states grant extensions for drivers who have a pending appointment, but you must ask. You must not assume. Step 5, prepare for the tests. If your state requires a vision test, get your eyes checked by an optometrist before your DMV appointment. If you need glasses or contacts, wear them. If your prescription has changed, update it. If your state requires a reaction time test or a cognitive screening, practice. There are online resources that can help you prepare. Do not walk into that test cold. You're not 25 anymore. Your reflexes are not what they used to be. That is fine, but you need to know what you are walking into. Step 6, if you live in one of the 5 states that require physician reporting, have an honest conversation with your doctor. At your next appointment, ask your doctor directly, are you required to report any of my medical conditions to the DMV? Ask them what conditions would trigger a report. Ask them what the process is. Ask them if they have ever reported a patient before. This is not an accusation. This is a conversation. Your doctor is your partner in your healthcare. They should be willing to discuss this with you openly and honestly. If they are not, find a new doctor. Step 7, if you are diagnosed with a condition that triggers mandatory reporting, do not panic. You have options. You can ask your doctor for a referral to a driving rehabilitation specialist. You can take a defensive driving course. You can get a second opinion. You can work with your doctor to manage your condition and demonstrate that you are still safe to drive. The goal is not to hide your condition. The goal is to manage it and to prove that you can still drive safely. Step 8, if you receive a letter from the DMV informing you that your license is under review, do not ignore it. Do not throw it away. Do not assume it is a mistake. The DMV gives you a deadline to respond. In some states, you must contact the DMV driver safety office within 5 days of receiving the notice, or your license will be suspended. In other states, you have 30 days or 45 days. Deadlines matter. Do not miss them. Respond immediately. Gather your medical records. Get a letter from your doctor stating that you are fit to drive. Submit everything on time. Step 9, if the DMV restricts your license, do not give up. You may be able to appeal the decision. You may be able to get a restricted license that allows you to drive during certain hours or in certain areas. A restricted license is not a failure. It is a compromise. It keeps you on the road. It keeps you independent, and it reduces the risk to yourself and to others. If your state offers this option, ask about it. Do not be too proud to accept it. Step 10, and this is the final step, the one that protects you after everything else. Document everything. Keep a record of your renewal date, your test results, your medical evaluations, and any correspondence with the DMV. If you are ever pulled over and asked about your license status, you have the documentation to prove you are in compliance. If you are ever reported to the DMV by a family member or a doctor, you have the documentation to challenge that report. Do not rely on your memory. Memory fades, paper does not. And do not drive without a valid license. It sounds obvious, but thousands of drivers do it every year. They forget to renew. They assume their license is still valid. They assume the grace period will protect them. There is no grace period. If your license expires, you're not legally allowed to drive. If you are pulled over, your insurance is void. You are facing fines, points, and potentially the seizure of your vehicle. Do not let that happen to you. Renew on time. Keep your documents current, and always, always know the rules before you get behind the wheel. This is not about taking away your freedom. This is about protecting it. The federal warning is not designed to punish you. It is designed to keep you and everyone else on the road safe. But safety requires knowledge, and knowledge requires action. You now have that knowledge. The question is what you do with it. Do not wait until it is too late. Do not assume someone else will handle it. Do not assume the rules do not apply to you. They do. They apply to every driver over 70 in every state in this country. And if you do not act, you're not just risking a fine. You are risking your license, your insurance, and your independence. That is the truth. That is the warning. And that is why you must act now. Check your license, check your expiration date, check your state's requirements, and do it before August. Your freedom depends on it. Your safety depends on it. And the safety of everyone else on the road depends on it. This is not optional. This is preparation. This is protection. This is your responsibility.